Hello everyone and welcome to my first stream in a while. I usually don't do these a lot, and as of late I've gotten some very positive feedback to having someone else on the stream during the lore Q&A. So today I asked Cueyo on stream. Cueyo, say hello.
Howdy guys, how's it going?
I hope you guys can hear him, because I'm not an expert on audio refinement. So let me know if you can hear Cueyo. I think you can hear me, not sure. But at least let me hear that before we start. So yeah, today we're gonna play some Elder Scrolls Legends, mostly against each other, so that there's no turn timer and we can just focus on the questions. Just like last time, we're gonna try and answer most of the questions that we get. Last time we managed to do about 30% of the ones we got, because we got a lot of them. So yeah, we're gonna do our best to answer as many questions as possible to the best of our capabilities, but also know that we are not developers or anything, so we don't know everything from the top of our heads. That said, yeah, I decided, since there are people that make super chats, that if you use a donate super chat, then you will get a guaranteed answer, or at least an attempt at an answer, because that seems only fair for the people that for some reason have the money to do that. I don't really understand why, but alright. So yeah, that's I think all you need to know for today's stream. And unless Cueyo wants to say something, I think we can start.
I'm good. Let's get right into the questions.
Alright, first question. As I told you, it's an Elder Scrolls 6 question. Could Orsinium be part of Elder Scrolls 6? What do you think?
Okay, so based off the title of, or at least the leaked title that we think it is, Redfall, what a lot of people said, or at least assume, is that it's Hammerfell. And so if it's Hammerfell, maybe, I don't know, because Hammerfell, depending on which parts you're in, can border on Orsinium.
Yeah.
Though specifically, I don't really think so.
I don't know, maybe it could be in DLC, just like in Elder Scrolls Online, in the way that they also did like Soulstime for DLC in like Skyrim. I mean, I could see it
Yeah.
happen, but I don't really know. At this point, we don't know. I mean, it's just a fair guess, I guess. I have one request, Cueyo, please don't go stream sniping. But, I mean, he's probably gonna do that, and I'm gonna use that as the excuse for when I inevitably lose, but yeah. Let's see, yeah, I guess. Let's see if I can have a good question here. Christian asked, what do you think about the Ebonheart Pact? I mean, they're pretty cool. I don't know if you have anything specific to say about them.
I do, in fact. You see, the Ebonheart Pact, in my opinion, is the best pact, surely because of the fact that they don't have furries in them. Now, as some of you may know, I am not a fan of furries, but yeah. No, it's not the real reason. I just think that the lore surrounding a lot of the Ebonheart Pact is much more interesting, since it does delve into my favorite topic, Coda.
Oh no, here we go again. No, but I mean, that's fair. Sart, Servant of Dawn, asks, hey, we talked on Instagram a couple of weeks ago and I really like your calligraphy. Do you have any questions or suggestions? Well, the way I did it, at least for my maps, was that I just tried to copy the text on the official maps and then just kept doing that until I could basically do it by myself. That was the idea for it. So I don't really have any suggestions other than maybe doing that. What's the biggest Elder Scrolls race in like population? Well, I don't know if you know that, but I heard someone say that it was the Bosmer. But in my population video I disagreed with that, because that didn't really seem logical to me. But someone says that it's the Bosmer, and I'm not sure if you know if that's confirmed or anything, because I assumed that it was the Imperials, to be honest.
See, the Imperials does make sense, like, because they do have to literally raise armies like every few, like, 100 years. But I mean, I don't understand why it'd be Bosmer, because Myr in general just don't have very long lifespans. Like, for example, we learn in ESO Somerset that the Altmer literally mate like once every 50 years, and they have like rituals around it too. So, I
You
mean,
don't mean
the
long
Bosmer,
lifespans, but you mean like procreation cycles? Or...
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I personally would assume it's one of the beast races, just because of the fact that, well, not for Khajiit at least, but in the case of Argonians, the Hist can literally create Argonians at will, and they may not be sentient Argonians, but they're very much able to be created without any sort of problems.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, that's my answer.
Let's see. Edward Kenway asked, Talmor or Tribunal? I think that my answer would be Talmor, and if I'm guessing it's for you, the Tribunal. And I'm almost very sure about that. Do you think we will have new races in the Elder Scrolls 6? I personally think there might be new races, but not new playable races. As in, they'll keep the amount of races the same, but just like, for example, in Skyrim, where they added some snow elves, they might do that as unplayable races. What do you think?
So yeah, probably like what you said, because they do love adding new races in. They just don't ever make them playable, like with ESO and adding things like the slowed, the what's the name, the silver skin people,
The Marmor, yeah.
Yeah. They love doing that. They love adding races in, but they never really do anything with it outside of like just showing them for like to add to plot. We probably won't ever be able to play them.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's also the case. I mean, we'll have to stick to mods for that, because there are some people who actually just completely recreated the Snow Elf race that they made for Skyrim as a playable race with those stats too. So I mean, they can be playable, but you'll have to mod them in yourself. That's the gist of it. Christian asked, how do you think the next Great War will start? I also think that we will have differing opinions on this. I'm gonna say that a lot during this video. During the stream, but I think it's probably because of political tensions, but I think your reason would be a bit different, but I don't know why I'm thinking that. But
so I personally don't even know if there's going to be a second Great War, because like, okay, this is a bit of a background for the people who don't know who I am. I literally have to like put a disclaimer in front of everything I say, because I know for a fact most of the stuff I say is not usually considered canon. So that said, my belief in how the Second Great War will start is kind of on the line of Zork's, though I do think it will definitely not be for a while. I don't think there's going to be a Second Great War in a long time. Like I personally think I don't know enough about it to like start guessing when it'll happen, and if there will be one, like whatever it is, I'd assume that it was political tensions too, because we see all that happening in Skyrim.
It's interesting what you say that you think that there might not be a second Great War soon. I kind of agree with that. As in, I'm sure that there will be a second Great War, but I'm not sure if it'll be soon. Especially since currently, at least the Dominion and the Empire are in somewhat of a what's the English word for it? Impasse.
Armistice.
No, in basically a sort of situation like we had in the Cold War, where both sides are basically a sort of stalemate. I think that will continue until one of the two sides gains a definite edge, and I'm not seeing that anytime soon. Just like you. Let's see, there are some more questions in. Do you think the Stormcloaks won, or do you think Tullius won? Well, I think Tullius won, but I think in the end we won't know until the next game. If we even know. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm a big proprietor of the idea that we don't ever know what's going to happen after the games, simply because I like theorizing about things. And I think, personally, just based off how everything is going, that despite who wins, like, I know this isn't really an answer to your question, but the ending doesn't really matter. Like, there probably will be a canon ending if we ever hear about it, but I don't think it'll matter in the greater, like, the greater flow of things. Because no matter who the victor was, there will probably be some sort of event at the end of the games or before the game, the next game, that basically makes it so that whatever happened previously is just really null and void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to basically, what's someone writing in the chat? Sorry, I was distracted. Basically, my personal belief is that if we're really gonna have a Hammerfell game next, then it's probably gonna be a game in the sense that you will have like spies of both the Empire and the Altmerry Dominion in Hammerfell, and you can either support one side or the other maybe, but in the end that doesn't really matter what happened to Skyrim, as I mean, I guess it could happen to some degree, but in that sense, whether you, for example, have Thalmor agents there or Penitus Oculatus agents there, doesn't really matter what Skyrim's doing. Just like it doesn't really matter what Hammerfell's doing right now in Skyrim, if that answer makes any sense at all.
Yeah, seems about right to me. Once again, like I really do want to push the fact that this is all like very big, like potential lore, and just that fact alone makes it very difficult to discuss.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not good at this game, if anyone was wondering. In all seriousness, I think that a win from the Dominion makes more sense story-wise. It would be more dramatic for Elder Scrolls 6, says Simo Road. I sort of agree. But on the other hand, I don't really think that either the Dominion or the Empire will have won in Elder Scrolls 6. I think that it might be a serious plot point for Elder Scrolls 6 where we have to see what the conclusion of the conflict is. But on the other hand, I could also see them just saying, well, fuck it, we're not gonna give a conclusion at all. I mean, in the end, that's just up in the air.
I'll let nothing get by. Die like a dog. I'll profit from your death. I shall end their blasphemy. Destroy them.
What kind of prophecy card will Cueyo have gotten?
I don't know.
Who goes there?
Of course.
Awaiting your
I have a terrible hand, by the way. If you could see this, it's so.
No, I'm not able to see that. You're able to see my hand, which is why I empty all my cards as fast as possible, so you can't stream snipe. Because if you win, that's the reason why you win, because you're stream sniped. Elsewhere is a client state to the Dominion, so yeah, they provide military aid, but also aren't directly a part of the Dominion. Yeah, that's true, General Falco. What if Ulfric and Tullius sue for peace with Skyrim, with Free Skyrim being an ally of the Empire? That would actually, I think, be a pretty... Oh, sorry, I had to click next turn. That would actually be a pretty good outcome, in my opinion. Not sure how likely it is, but I think it could happen. I don't know what your opinion on that is.
So okay, let me look at this question. What if Ulfric and Tullius sue for peace with Skyrim, Free being ally of... Okay. But what do you mean sue for peace?
Well, I think what he means to say is, what if Ulfric just goes to, like, Tullius and is like, yo, I have an idea, how about you give us...
We go to court, we go to Supreme Court, and we file...
He's just like, yo, give us freedom, and then we'll be an ally of the Empire and help you whenever you need it, like, in that sense.
You know, that does make sense, but, like, I feel like, after the whole... summit thing that happened in Skyrim, their differences are very much not even based on political matters. Like, they just hate each other's guts.
Yeah.
So for them to come together, like, they're like throwing pot shots at each other all throughout that summit.
Yeah.
And they have to be like quieted down multiple times.
Like,
so I don't think that could really happen.
I remember having, like, I ripped a copy of Skyrim. I just ripped all the dialogue lines of it with some converter. And I just spent like a whole afternoon just listening to all sort of dialogue. And then just the dialogue from like the summit was by far the most fun dialogue in like the entire game. Because it's like Tullius is saying some shit like, don't try to sell me sheep's piss and disguise it as Colovian brandy. Something like that. I don't know, I laughed. Alright, let's see how we're gonna do this, boys. We're gonna attack Cueyo with everything we got.
no mercy.
Oh jeez, I might actually lose this. I can't play any of my cards. They're all too high mana.
And the thing is, I have to establish dominance, so that's going very well. Let's see. Maybe the Dominion obtained an impossible way to win through mysterious help of a Daedra. I mean, they did that last time during the Great War. They had the Orb of Vermina, and they had the help of Boethia. So, I mean, they did that last time, and it didn't really work for them. Well, I mean, I guess it did until it no longer did. Do you think the Dominion will ever succeed in unmaking the world as we know it? I think not, but I think Cueyo might.
Okay, so I don't know much about this little theory or this thing that people talk about with Dominion unmaking the world, but I do. Because if you try and turn back the more lore-esque pages into the potential lore as it's commonly known, Coda, the Thalmor, well, at least the argument for this that I know of is that the Thalmor seem to kind of, it's said multiple times in the game that they kind of hate the fact that they're mortal because they believe that they're I forget, is it Ada or not Ada?
Well, no, that's not what's stated in the game. Basically, what's stated in the game is that they think that the elven races are inherently superior, and in the Elder Scrolls novels, it's stated that this is the point of basic conflict that there is with these theories, is that in the Elder Scrolls novels, it's clearly stated that their goal is to bring the world back to a state like in the Meretic era. Or Mythic era, as they said. And Mythic era is often referring to the Meretic era. So, the way one hand of people interprets that is that they wish to unmake the world. And then there was this statement by Ancano from the College of Winterhold, who's like a Thalmor agent sent to the college, who is like, the moment that he has the great powers, he's of the Eye of Magnus, he's saying, I have the power to unmake the world at my fingertips. And some people link that to the Thalmor then wanting to unmake the world, while I see it as bringing back the Meretic era in the sense that they wish to bring back elven political dominance on Tamriel, as in they don't want the humans to have any significant influence on Tamriel. And I personally think that Ancano is not a high-ranking Thalmor, and thus, if they have the goal of unmaking the world, he might not know it, because if lowly Thalmor agents like Ancano are able to know it, then Penetus Oculatus agents would know it, because they have pretty good spies within the Thalmor, since we know that from the Elder Scrolls novels, since in the Elder Scrolls novels, the Penetus Oculatus are very well aware of the goals of the Thalmor. So there's basically two ways to interpret this thing. At least that's how I got it.
Yeah, so getting back to like, okay, so the whole reason I said that whole entire thing about like going back to like being spirits and all that, I don't remember exactly where I heard it, but I do remember it being somewhere in ESO, which is the case with like most of this more metaphysical lore. But in general, the whole concept is that they want to go back to the time before the existence of the was it the Alnofe, the wandering Alnofe. They want to go back to a time before them. And
so basically before the ancestors of humans, that's the...
Yeah, pretty much. And it kind of aligns with yours, but the way I see it, at least, is that they just kind of want to get rid of them entirely, and as they say, kind of unmake the world. It stems a lot from the whole concept of like Lorcan making them mortal and things along that line.
Yeah.
That's a whole can of worms.
I mean, it could also be very possible that there are, for example, some within the Thalmor which have that goal, and then others in the Thalmor which have other goals. Because as far as we know, the Thalmor do not have one leader. It's more or less a sort of council that rules it. At least that's what we heard from the mage in Falkreath, I believe it was. So at this point, it's just, I don't know if I could call it speculation, but it's interpretation, and I think both of the interpretations are valid, to a sense that we can't confirm any of them. I don't know if you agree partly with that, at least.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And also, I see a man who just did a super chat.
Mr. Cameron Faust says, "Sup, guys." Thank you very much.
How's it going, Cam?
Since he isn't telling me any questions, I'm gonna give a little bit of background about this guy, because I went to Indonesia this summer, and this guy, he sent me for my birthday to my house. He sent a hat in the same fashion of a Make America Great Again hat, and instead of that, the hat said "Make Indonesia Netherlands Again." That's what this guy did. So yeah, maybe he should have asked the question with a super chat, because now I didn't really embarrass him, but still, now people know this. Alright, I'm gonna lose this game, boys. We're gonna charge head on in, and we're gonna kill this dude, and then we're probably gonna completely die. Let's
Oh,
see.
by the way, I saw a question that said, "Who is Cueyo?" Well, Mr. Hans Olo, I am an Elder Scrolls YouTuber. I'm not as big
Nobody
as
cares.
my big man Zork here, but yeah, yeah, I'm an Elder Scrolls YouTuber.
Yeah, you should check out his channel. Wait, I didn't even post a link to this. Wait. While you answer whatever question is in the... No, I did totally post a link in the description. Just give me 5 minutes to actually do it. Alright, while you
okay,
answer
so-
questions in the chat, I'm actually gonna do this for now. Oh, fuck.
So
I
let's-
didn't do
let's
it
look at
last
these
time either,
questions.
by the way, so don't worry.
Maybe Elder Scrolls 6 would be set years, but not centuries after Skyrim. I like that idea. But that said, once we do get past a certain point, at least from my knowledge with Coda, I don't know about you guys, this is very much like not canon, but it would start delving into the more Coda-esque storylines that were created, because Coda is theoretically unfinished lore that could be used, and we've seen it used many times over in games like ESO. So that's just the answer. If it could take place, yes, it could, but then it very much change up the story.
Yeah.
Did the Augur of Dunlane cause destruction of Winterhold? Interesting you say that. Because we do meet another Augur in ESO called the Augur of the Obscure, and we know for a fact that Augurs are like these extra dimensional things that can exist in multiple realities. That's a technical term right there that you could, it's kind of argued, but they can see multiple things at once. They can see futures, they can see pasts. And the Augur of Dunlane is kind of weird because he's not contained by a vessel. See, the Augur of the Obscure is like held in the skull, while the Augur of Dunlane seems to, I think he might be held by the college, which would explain like all the kind of runic eyes all around the college. That's a theory that I shouldn't get into right now. But yeah, he could have caused it. He very much has the power, and I think that maybe the reason that everything wasn't destroyed was because perhaps the college held them in. What if the
Alright.
intel
Wait. The link to Cueyo's channel is now officially in the description, as it has always been, and nobody can prove me wrong. So yeah, that happened. On the other hand, I wish to ask Cueyo to please finish me off in Elder Scrolls Legends already, because I'm clearly losing.
Vinozork, I still can't play any of my cards.
What kind of cards do you have?
I have a very late game deck.
I see. Well, Mr. Dead Knight was complaining that his question got buried like all stream. So he asked, in the event of a Dominion victory, how long do you think they'll last? And my question to you is, who do you mean with they? Do you mean the Dominion after their victory, or do you think the Empire? Dude, I'm answering your question. Don't say stop swallowing my question, I'm answering it. Or at least I'm trying to, if your question was coherent. Let's see, Nicola Jurican says, how do you think a season ending quest will be explained in Elder Scrolls 6? Well, we touched on that earlier in the stream, that we think it can go either way, or that it might not even be explained at all, as Cueyo said, as it might not have an influence on the outcome of Elder Scrolls 6. Unless you want to add something to that.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Now he's answering the same question. Again. Without... What do you mean with they? As in, you say, in the event of a Dominion victory, how long do you think they'll last?
Well,
do you mean...
I think asking, like, how long will the Dominion last after they rule? And I think, like I said, probably a really long time, because they're Altmer. And, like, they live really long times. And they have a fairly decent structure for, like, ruling. And yes,
I meant the
Cam, we are
Dominion.
nerd.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can agree with that statement that the moment, if they truly get superiority over Tamriel, or like complete dominance over Tamriel, that they'll last for a long time. That's at least what I think. Can't be sure, of course, but alright, let's just... I'm actually tempted to just concede, but I hope that I get like a few good cards. Probably not.
You just need a few hits on me and you win.
I know, but that's the whole thing. Let's see, someone is spamming the chat, so we're giving him a timeout. Let's see, do you think a Breton could ever... What do you mean, Marianor? I will fight till the last man.
So there's a question here that says, "What did you think about Elder Scrolls Blades personally?"
Pretty fun, but too microtransaction-y.
Yeah, I agree with that. Very much microtransaction-y. I haven't actually ever played it, but I planned on playing it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. I can do something like in my free time when I don't have access to my computer.
Mistakes were
But
made.
it became like Fallout 76 for me. It probably was fun at some point, but then everything really got bad despite all the problems they had.
A victory.
Yeah, I'm giving up.
Oh, come on, you could have won.
No, I couldn't win this. Hey, you know I couldn't. I'm not gonna give you the... I will fight, said no Dutchman ever. No, I didn't. Was there even...
Another one.
Was there even enough lore to even look at Blades? Well, yeah, I did 2 videos about it. There's decent amount of lore. As in, there's more than I expected there to be. With that I mean mostly that there were some lore bits. As in, the description of items, the description of quest items, some offhand dialogue, were mostly things that implied things or confirmed things that we already knew. Or at least not knew, but what we thought we knew. For example, there were things that were theorized and then confirmed by lore
Yeah,
later
the guy's
in.
back.
Yeah, we're gonna ban him. Yep, he's gone. Alright, so yeah, there was some lore in Blades, but I can't recommend playing it for the lore. Like, there's some people that just want to play, for example, Skyrim for its lore instead of for the gameplay, and that's not really something you can do with Blades. As in, with Blades it's heavily, you have to like the concept of the game, and if you do, then you might get some fun lore bits on the side, but you're not gonna get the same kind of lore in Skyrim. For example, there's no in-game books, so yeah. Sounds like I missed some required reading. What do you mean? That sucks. Why didn't they put any blades, armor, or swords in that game? That was the only reason why I got the game. Yeah, I don't know.
Are the Elder Scrolls games confirmed canon by Bethesda?
Depends who you see as Bethesda. Because Pete Hines
Yeah.
said on Twitter basically that Elder Scrolls Legends, ESO, and Blades are all canon. But then there's people who say that Pete Hines don't know what the fuck he's talking about. So that's basically the thing that we have.
Yeah,
Like,
canon it's a very well, not pretentious, but it's a very touchy subject. So in general, whatever you think is canon.
let's just talk about the things that we all like, and let's just not. Yeah. Oh no, there's another guy.
I think it's the guy. It's the same guy with another.
Yeah, I'm very sure.
account.
I should add some mods to this thing. ESO isn't canon, right? Well, you see, that's what I meant. Like, Pete Hines said that it's canon, and some other people who work with Bethesda have said it's canon. But then there's
No,
also people who say that those people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So I guess in the end we'll
okay.
just see.
Yeah, there's actually a reason why a lot of people don't consider ESO canon. That's because when it came out, ESO was literally a steaming pile of dog shit. The canon, the lore. Okay, so Lauren Schick, the previous writer for ESO, he didn't have during the initial development, he didn't have a lot of time to work with the actual gameplay and world design teams. So all the lore we got in like the base game of ESO, and even some of it that exists today, is completely wrong. So base game ESO, while it does have a lot of things that they went back and tried to fix, they still can't fix because a lot of the lines of dialogue can't be recorded. So some portions, if not a lot, of base game ESO are definitely not canon. That said, the DLC, like literally every DLC, and all the chapters, the big expansions they have, are definitely canon because they fit in with literally everything we know, and they add on to things that we know, and they do not except for minor mistakes that even the mainline games have, contradict. So
Yeah.
I think you should interpret it like that. Like, base game, lots of problems in development. DLC and expansions seem good to me.
Yeah. Quick question by Marianor, who says that a magocracy is a country ruled by wizards. Could that happen in High Rock? I mean, sure, there's a lot of wizards in High Rock, but if one of them eventually becomes king, then that would technically be a magocracy, then, as you want to define it that way, as then you would have a wizard king. Pie Guy says, is ESO good now? Because I feel I wasted my money when it first came out. Well, I think Cueyo said it best that when it launched it was a pile of dog shit, and now it's pretty good if you like MMOs, or unless you want to add something to that.
Hey, that's exactly it. It's pretty good if you like MMOs. When it started, it was a pile of dog shit.
Yeah. What's this thing? Oh wow, I just completely wasted this card. Like, I didn't read what it did again. I completely misremembered it.
Yeah, well, I can't play any cards because this is also an endgame deck.
We're having a lot of spam today.
Oh,
In the
he's
chat.
back. Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can just like ban an email account.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Nicola Jurican asked, does Alduin's Wall predict the events of Elder Scrolls 6? I remember that Avarti did a video on it. Didn't watch it. And I actually analyzed the wall myself to see if I could find what he meant, like without even watching the video, as in if it was just clickbait or if it was serious. And to this day I still don't know if he made a valid point in that video. That's my fault.
Yeah.
But I couldn't
So-
find anything.
I've seen a little bit of his video. There's lots of confirmation bias. When you're looking for specific things, you'll find them. Like, if I go in there with my Coda head mindset and say, "Oh, geez, I can see things like Numidium." Well, yeah, there's a giant statue, a giant golem, but that's from Morrowind. It's not Numidium. So, yeah, there's lots of confirmation bias that can happen, and I think he did introduce a lot in his video. Which is not to say his video was bad. I just don't know much about it.
Yeah, same. In terms of whether it confirms what Elder Scrolls 6 is about, I would personally say no, as I simply couldn't find any evidence of it myself. As when I saw his title, I was actually playing Skyrim, and I was sort of close to Cloud Ruler Temple. No, not Cloud Ruler Temple. What's the temple name again? I don't remember. I was
I know the temple.
The Blade
is, and
Temple.
I'm assuming everyone else does.
but I was pretty close to that, and I decided to check it out before I watched this video, because I was on my data and I was just like in the car playing Skyrim. I have a Switch. Fuck you. No. And I couldn't find anything. Like, it seemed to me that Alduin's Wall basically led up to the events of Skyrim and didn't really say much beyond that. But then again, I haven't watched that video or any of those theories around that kind of thing, so yeah, I don't know. That's my honest answer to that.
Oh, Skyhaven. That was the name of the temple.
Skyhaven Temple, yeah. Sergeant Rex asks, what's your favorite playstyle? For me, it's definitely just sword and shield. I don't know about you, maybe you're one of those mage kind of
I
people.
don't know about you guys, but I think everyone knows about this style. It's called Stealth Archer.
It's called Biggest Scumbags! Come on, kill my guard. Cueyo says, American Scribe says, Cueyo shamelessly plug Lodcast, and I'm gonna do it for you. Because Lodcast is the podcast that Cueyo hosts on his channel. You should check it out. I even appeared in some.
And he was supposed to be a host, but our timing changed, and
Basically,
so
the fact that I am living in Europe, and you guys have the stream sometimes in times where it's midnight for me, basically killed everything. Let's see.
yeah, go check out Lodcast. You're welcome, Scribe.
Also, when Elder Scrolls 6 come out, Skyrim will be over a decade old. I'm pretty sure they won't care about what they might have planned, even if they did plan something, which isn't likely, says Periodics. I don't know about that though, because in Elder Scrolls Redguard, in the intro, you can see some books where one says Morrowind, that was the next game which wasn't announced yet, and then the next one was actually Oblivion. And it was years before Oblivion, so they already had plans for Elder Scrolls Chapter 4 to be Oblivion. So I wouldn't be too quick with saying that they don't care about the plans that they have, if they have any. That said, you could also be very right.
Taste my steel.
See, what I think about that is that, like, the games are always in pre-production, like at any point, especially since with a franchise this successful. So I don't think they're gonna disregard anything. They've probably been planning this for years. The game might not be great, but they've definitely been planning everything about it for years. So I don't think they'll. So yeah, it could go either ways depending on how the industry has been moving, but
Yeah, we'll see, I guess. I'm getting really annoyed by those spam messages, though. So
he's run out of accounts with profile pictures.
yeah,
You fool, you absolute buffoon. The second I get a hold of your channels,
Pie Guy
I
says,
have,
do you think
I have over 120 channels.
All right. Do you think Starfield will be a good game? Not sure. I'm gonna see that if that is gonna be the case or not. I'm holding my breath.
Yeah, same. With the trend that Bethesda's been pushing everyone in, because I don't know about if you guys heard about the new Deathloop game that was announced by Arcane, but they were hiring for they were hiring from a live services guy.
Oh god.
So even a single player studio has that now. So I don't know about Starfield.
Nicola Jurgen says, is the color of Elder Scrolls 6's letters in any way an indication of what timeline it might be set in? My honest answer to that is, I have no idea. If it's the case, I would laugh very hard. But I have the feeling that that's not the kind of thing they would put in there. As in, maybe they made it accidentally like look that way, just because they know the internet will over-theorize everything. But I don't think that's a serious hint, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, sorry about that. I was playing, but I don't. Well, there is always meaning in the titles, but from what they've shown us, it's very, very bland. Like in the case of Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, the Broken Dragon. That was a very big thing that we did not know anything about. In the case of Oblivion, the Oblivion Gate. In the case of Morrowind, I don't think Morrowind really had anything specific about its logo. So it could vary. We don't know if like the names or if anything really holds as much meaning as we think it does.
Yeah, I agree with that. Will Todd Howard become the true god of the Adra and Daedra? Well, on his current path, he's probably gonna be the god of money. Any
Yep.
chance for Witcher lore? I don't know about you, but I don't know. Like I said in my last video, I might do some other series as lore once in a while. As in, I might do a one-shot every like couple of months on another series. And I'm soon gonna play Witcher, so who knows? If I find something where I'm like, yeah, I should talk about this, then maybe. But yeah, that's completely up in the air at this point.
Let none defile our temple.
You know what the problem is?
He's back.
Maybe, if I could understand what the messages are saying, I would agree with this dude. But I'm not sure what it says. Like, I can't read what he says. What's your favorite hold in Skyrim? For me, it's the Rift. It's just cool.
Yeah, I think it's because I record a lot of footage, and I personally think that the best one is the Rift. It just looks awesome in like videos and stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
A close second may just be like the Forgotten Veil, but that's not really a hold.
Are you excited for the Witcher series on Netflix? Again, I haven't played The Witcher yet. I'm gonna play it soon. Maybe after I played one of the games, I'm gonna be like, yeah, this is my thing. But right now, I'm not sure yet.
I feel like playing the Witcher series might make you a little less excited, just because that's just me. But yeah,
I mean,
it's very much different than how the Witcher series has gone about things.
I'm one of
The games.
I'm one of the few people who found the Mario movie kind of good. So, I mean, you can disregard me already, but that was a joke though. So please get that.
Oh, guys, Zork really does think the Mario movie was good. Don't listen to him. Oh, what's this?
You're a filthy stream sniper, so you probably know what it is.
Well, the stream happens right as you place the cards, so no matter what I do, I'm just gonna see your cards as they...
Man, we are going on the attack. We have to take this bastard down with everything we got. Just
Okay, let's get back to these questions. What do you think about the Akaviri invasion theories? Do you think that we'll ever see the Akavir or meet its inhabitants? Funny you say that, because we do in fact meet people from Akavir in the newest expansion for ESO.
wait, are you serious?
But yeah, we don't meet them physically, but we meet them like their ghosts and stuff.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we have seen that before in Oblivion too.
Yeah, but in general, I don't know about the theories about it. I actually don't know anything about the theories, but we do meet them in ESO. I know that.
Wow, now he's posting it in Dutch. Like,
He translated after hearing you.
He's saying something. Imperial knowledge, that's the first and was the best 4 of the 3 years after the invasion in the war of the US in the last years of the US. I don't get what the fuck you're saying, even if it isn't in Dutch, so stop spamming.
It's a copy pasta.
Probably
You
is.
know the whole thing that what's his name says at the beginning of Oblivion? That's what it is. Except he replaced some names.
Is there really a big tiger ruling Akavir right now? We have no idea. At least I don't.
About yeah, there's when it comes to talking about the Capotun, which is the race of the cat people in Akavir, we don't even know if they're real. But first thing, but if we were to take things, because I actually recently talked about the unreliable narrator, which is the whole concept that things don't necessarily, like, they're not as they appear. So maybe, but I feel like, just personally, that the dragon god guy king of the Capitoon is just bringing himself up, maybe by like transmogrifying himself somewhat. He has like dragon-like features, which would probably be the extent that Bethesda, if they ever explored Akavir, would like make him look like. So it's probably just like him stretching his tail.
Yeah. Alright, lot of questions. You choose one.
Oh jeez.
I know you're just waiting for the stream snipe moments.
Who do you believe is the most powerful dragon after Alduin and...
After Alduin and? Oh, in lore.
in the lore.
I'd say Parthenax. I don't know, at least the one alive.
See, about that, while Parthenax was like, was he the left or the right hand? I think he was the left hand of Alduin. But that's beyond the point. What I think,
not the
at
one he
least,
wanks with.
what I think is that Alduin is like, he's such a high step above that like classifying the other dragons even on his level is kind of hard to do. But we do. I don't think it's Parthenax. Parthenax, by the time we meet him, maybe in the past it was Parthenax, but by the time we meet him, at least he's very, very, very weak. Like he can fight and stuff, but it. I don't know if he's weak because dragons don't really require sustenance in any form, but just that he's basically a hermit. He's not even a warrior anymore. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it may be like perhaps Odoving, because he clearly seems in shape and like is willing to act on things, and he has like an office and all that. Of like I forget what his position was, but in my opinion, it's probably Odoving. But that said, there's also dragons with unique abilities like Durnavir and Necromancy and all that, so I won't get too heavily into that, but I think it might be Odoving.
Alright. Yeah, I think it might have been like the dragon we meet in the Soul Cairn during Dawnguard, because he also practiced Necromancy next to like, regular shouting. Durnavir, yeah. But yeah. Lewis Jones says best Elder Scrolls antagonist. How about we choose that for each other, because I know yours and you probably know mine.
I'm gonna say, well, I don't know if I know yours, but I'm gonna just say out of the blue that it was someone from Oblivion.
That was yours.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say yours is someone from Oblivion.
Well, yeah, I think it was actually the God. How did I forget his name? Fuck, this is like the major Daedric Prince. Why did I... Maroon's Dagon. Fuck.
Was it Maroon's Dagon?
Basically... Or no, not Maroon's Dagon. I think I liked... God, why do I forget all these names? Fuck.
It's the major...
Mankar Cameron. I like Mankar
Cameron.
Yeah. I like him a lot. That's basically one of the... This is... I don't know.
Yeah.
I should be shamed for everything in my life.
But yeah, mine is Dagothur, as you heard. I just like his voice. Oh, I see you're going on the offensive, Zork. Very cool.
No, I'm not going on the offensive. Because I'm gonna lose this anyway. Like, I don't have the... Oh yeah, I might have been able to do something, but... No, I'm gonna concede again, because this is not gonna work out. This is... I've lost again. That's only because you're stream sniping.
I'm not stream sniping. If I was stream sniping, I'd like intently look at your screen. Wait, how do you know? You don't know I'm intently not looking at your screen, but that doesn't matter.
Okay. By the way, you look at your Discord. I wanted to show you something that I have here on my desk. Yeah, I forgot to show that earlier. Anyway, let's see. Do you think Pelennor is going to come back? I think not, but maybe you have another theory about that.
Well, Pelennor, he is an Otta, I believe. Not an Otta, an Otta. They're like spirits. And I don't think Otta ever really die. He probably just lost his physical form. So maybe he does come back, but I don't remember anything about him from Coda or any of my readings and that kind of stuff. Though I also haven't dug as deep as others have into that.
Alright.
Despite being as deep as I am.
God, that was very wrong. Anyway, General Falco asks, do you think the Empire was stronger just before the Great War broke out, or stronger as of 4E201? I personally think 4E201, since we know that they were very weak, as in they specifically mentioned that the Empire was weakened before the Great War, and the Great War came as somewhat of a surprise. And right now, the Empire, we know, is consciously aware of the fact that there might be a second Great War, and they are preparing for it. So I would say that they are stronger now. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
No.
Alright, connection is not lost. Let's see. Do you think Tiber Septim actually became a god? And I'm not gonna say anything about that, but Cueyo probably will.
I have multiple videos on this, which you could probably look on my channel if you want to know about it. But just to sum it up for you, the theory is, or at least the well-accepted thing at this point is, don't take this as canon, is that Tiber Septim retroactively, like going back in time through some sort of process, merged with 2 other people who were on the level of God, like in terms of their exploits, and became Talos. There's a very big story behind this that involves tons of metaphysics. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. Most people believe he did become a god, but not in the way you'd expect, like with mantling, though it did have something to do with that.
Alright. American Scribe asks, who is your least favorite follower?
For me, so there's this guy back when I did the Boethia quest for Skyrim, in like the Candlehearth Hall. I forget what his name was, but I had to find someone to like that I didn't like that I had to kill. I was like, why don't I just go to like Candlehearth Hall? This guy says like he sounds like kind of a jerk, so I hired the guy and I immediately killed him. So I was like, I guess he's my least liked because I don't really hate any of them. Fane does a close second, but
I know. My least favorite follower is probably the girl from Solstheim. I don't really know, Freya or something, I think her name was. That's mostly because I think she could have been fleshed out a bit more. Like, for example, Serana was very fleshed out. But then she was not as much, so that was kind of disappointing. Although, even though nobody asked for it, I'm gonna say what my favorite follower is. It's like the dog during the...
Barbas?
Yeah, Barbas. I keep forgetting all these names. It's echt, I don't know why. But Barbas, by far, just because he has like this weird Hebrew accent, and it's just like, I don't know, I really enjoyed that.
A Hebrew accent?
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite, since no one asked about this, and Zork said it,
Nobody asked
I
for
would
this.
honestly say, no, I think it's Serana. I know she was kind of a letdown, but out of all the like followers in any game, she is still the most fleshed out.
Yeah, probably. However, the followers in Fallout 4 were relatively better fleshed out than at least in Skyrim.
I'm not
I
that
see
much.
straight up Irish is here. What a nice surprise. Fuck off to your own country. Nah, you're very welcome to stay.
Zork, stop canceling the challenges.
I know, but I'm really done with losing every time. But seriously,
Here, I'll
straight
play a
up-
super
wait a
easy
minute.
deck.
I want to say something. Straight up Irish. He challenged me to a Smash duel 2 years ago. I know that he has a Switch and Smash Brothers now, and he has a capture card, and still he won't battle me. So this guy.
Speaking of, Irish refused to tell me how to rig up characters in animation. I want to fight him now.
So this
And
is
Smash.
basically. Let's smash. Sans Megalovania. Yeah. On the Pilot Wings map. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, let's look at these questions.
Yeah,
again.
that's a better idea. Do you
Do
think
you
that
think that every drag? Yeah.
Yeah, you
We
were
read
doing the same
one.
question.
Okay, go. Do you think that every Dragonborn is a reincarnation of Shore, and that this is why we don't see him in Sovngarde? Oh, that's another highly debated topic, but guess what? It is my specialty.
So go ahead, because I don't literally know anything about this.
So when it comes to like Dragonborns and Shore and just generally how we see everything, there's kind of a bit of a disconnect that I haven't been able to very much connect myself. That's the reason I called it a disconnect. In that the whole like connection between if a Dragonborn is from Akatosh or if he's from Shore is kind of debated. Now, there's the idea of a Shezarene. And Shezarenes are like they're the people who can shout. So I don't know this 100%, but I do think that there's a possibility for someone to be a Shezarene and a Dragonborn, though we don't know if Dragonborn emperors could ever shout. The only exception being Talos, in which case that's another can of worms. And all of these questions really are can of worms when it comes to things like whether or not Shore reincarnates, because we know right now, at least in some spheres, that Talos is just an aspect of Shore, and that perhaps the Dragonborn is the full reincarnated version, which is why Talos seems to be slowly dying in the hearts of people despite being kept so tightly knit in Nordic culture. So maybe he is the reincarnation, but I don't know if the previous ones are. That answers your question.
Alright. Another one that has more to do with gods. Do you think Sheogorath will have another Grey March, and will the Oblivion protagonist come back?
I think you can answer this, Orc.
I personally think that, yeah, might be the case, actually. I mean, at this point we don't really know. I know that if Straight Up Irish is in this chat, I'm gonna say that that Sheogorath is not the hero of Kvatch, that he's gonna get very mad at me, so I'm not gonna say that, because he is, but yeah. But Straight Up Irish actually asked a question, I don't know if it's serious since I haven't read it yet. I can't... Where the heck is Vivek? My money on him being kidnapped by Thick Azura.
Well, you know, Irish, there's a theory that Vivek was in fact kidnapped by Thick Azura, and now he's actually, I don't know, I didn't know how to continue that. I just said yes to your thing, and yeah.
Alright, well, that theory apparently is valid. And I certainly have no idea. I heard something. I heard a theory of him going to Akavir with the Nerevarine, but I've understood that that's never confirmed in any way.
Nah, that was never ever confirmed.
So at this point, the theory of yours is as good as any of mine, but probably better because mine aren't based on shit. I killed Alduin with just an iron dagger. Cool.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. Very cool.
What if the Dragonborn remember Delphine, that the blade serves as the Dragonborn and not the other way around? I mean, that's basically what that one mod does, right?
Yeah, the Parthenax dilemma?
Yeah, the Parthenax dilemma. Basically it says, yo, you're supposed to serve me, not the other way around. And I think that should be in the game, but Bethesda was like, nah, we're gonna have them kill Parthenax.
Ooh, Irish followed up. See, I don't think that because Vivek isn't the type of person to just let Morrowind get destroyed.
I'm gonna leave this all to you. Since you know way more about Vivek and the Tribunal.
So Vivek is he's a nut. We all know that. Getting godlike powers for so long generally will leave someone feeling like, at least from what we hear from people like Soph Seal, and I don't know about Almalexia, but she's a bitch and everyone agrees on that. But it seems as though getting the godlike powers really just disconnect you with the rest of the world. And so Vivek leaving, yes, it might not be like him because he's made like these vows as like, oh, I shall protect my people. But that said, Bardau was left above Vivek as like a way of threatening the people. So, I don't know. Him leaving, because Vivek was real big into like metaphysics. He was like, if you think of some Coda head in real life, Vivek was the equivalent in Elder Scrolls. Like, he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna become the next godhead. I want to do this, and it's all in 36 lessons. And him leaving to me is not. Him leaving to me is not really anything weird. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Because he always had bigger plans. He wanted to kind of like ascend above everything else. Like, he was always looking ahead while we were constantly thinking, oh, why is he leaving? Doesn't he love his people? Yeah, that's why he left. He wanted to do something bigger. At least that's my interpretation of it.
Alright, I'm just gonna say one thing, Mr. Straight Up Irish. We don't know what happened. And that whole Kim thing you're talking about, and I'm gonna say something that's gonna anger Cueyo now, so I'm really glad we're nearing the end of this stream. Kim isn't canon yet.
What did you say, Zork?
Nothing.
No, it's understandable. I get that.
I mean, there's a lot of theorizing around it, and there's also some solid theories. I mean, I acknowledge that a lot of the theories have a lot of basis, but there aren't any direct confirmations for it, unless I am missing something that came in like the most recent ESO or Blades DLC or something like that, because I don't really play that.
Yo, Zork, Irish just called you out. He just said this isn't a real lore channel because you haven't talked about like.
Yeah, but the thing is, he doesn't know
the
what a
Lost
real lore
Argonian
channel
name.
is, because he's never seen one in his life or owned one.
Oh my god! Oh, I just walked into like a battlefield.
As long as he doesn't 1v1 me in Smash on Final Destination, he's not gonna be able to insult me.
Hard question to answer, but why was Mana Marco a mortal instead of a lich in Oblivion?
I think you know this better than me, since you're more into that kind of thing.
the one that appeared in Oblivion, I think at least, was not Mana Marco, because we know that Mana Marco, at least from Daggerfall, became the Necromancer's Moon. Like he ascended to becoming a literal like celestial body like other gods, but he only appears at certain points in time. Hence the reason he's called the Necromancer's Moon. So I don't think that was him, and that was just like perhaps maybe it was like an avatar of him, like maybe he possessed someone and tried to do stuff, but why he would come back after achieving godhood makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I get what you mean. There's also, I remember there being this mod team that wanted to do like a whole questline with Manamarco returning again. I don't know,
yeah,
it never really made sense to me.
What was it? I know the mod you're talking about. It was like pretty big.
Yeah, it was pretty big, like, pretty big modders were actually working on it, so... I mean... did Skyrim partake Brexit?
Yes.
I mean, technically, we've been fighting over the Skexit for like... What's it now? 8 years? So I guess. Brexit predicted Skyrim. Sure. Anyway, now that we're getting in the realm of these kind of questions, I think it's time to end the stream. That, and I'm crazy tired. Anyway,
yeah, it's been fun, guys.
I want to thank everyone indeed who has been watching this channel, and if you can't get enough of me, then you should watch more of my videos. If you can't get enough of the sweet, sweet voice of Mr. Cueyo over here, say hello.
Howdy, guys. How's it going?
Yeah, I didn't want that. Anyway, if you can't get enough of him, you can go look at his channel, which is in the description now. And yeah, I'm gonna see you all later, and thank you all very much for being such a great audience today, except for that one guy that kept spamming. He was annoying. Bye.
Bye.